all at affordable prices. YKS has 3 locations to serve you: Bahama Avenue, French Charles, and East Street South near the Charles Hotel. YKS, where you can afford to look good.
Sound and lighting for your church or instruments for your band. Audio Plus, Audio Plus. Equipment for your DJ set or audio for your car. Audio Plus. For lighting and musical things and more. Come to the bigger and better musical store. Come down to Audio Plus.
Located Soldier Road North, south of the Village Road roundabout. Phone 394-6668. The musical store that wow.
Lord, where you think this man is, man? All day I be home with this little baby kiss. And he be to me. Huh? Well, anyway, I gonna fall down the road to see if he down. Now this place down the road. And if he down there, there gonna be some problems. Because guess what? I got a headache and I tired, man. Every other night, Andrew would call round here. Tell him nice little wife, he gotta work late. But he goes to the bar to catch a few with the boys. Let dominoes, drink liquor and make noise. Now Andrew say, man, you gotta be the king of your house. So make up your mind if you're gonna be mine or mine. The bartender shot across the room. If Andrew there, Andrew said he boy to tell him I hear. And she said, tell the whole I hear, he better come on now. These little children he got, they crying for their pop. 'Cause he wouldn't like it if I hadn't come to that bar. So tell all I hear, he better come now. Listen, y'all better tell Andrew get to this phone now. Because he wouldn't like me to come down there to that bar. Not tonight. You hear me? Now Andrew tell the bartender man, let me make this play. The next time my wife calls this bartender, I eat. He said when man having fun, woman gotta leave him alone. But his wife called him back, she heard his voice over the phone. And she said, tell all I hear, he better come on now. Boy, this man better come on now, you know. Oh, these little children he got, they crying for their You ain't hear all this noise they making in here. For their car. He wouldn't like it if I hadn't come to that bar. Boy, let me tell you.
This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Global 90.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these 3 questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made. often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street.
GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. And as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon routine. Let me go ahead and get rid of this virtual background. Don't need that today, seeing that I'm coming to you from inside the studio. And there we go. All right. Welcome to you all on this Masterclass Monday, where we are looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas. And you know the drill. Every Monday around these parts, we do a show with none other than Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, who is going to help us to break down the Constitution of the Bahamas and everything that we need to know and understand as it relates to it. Before we begin this conversation with the professor, let us tell you how you can become a part of the show. You may have a question or a comment. The telephone numbers to call are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. That's 801-0271. We are streaming live to our Facebook pages. That's Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM. We're also streaming live now on Rumble.com. That's right. Remember I told you guys last week we were looking to see if we could get started on Rumble. Well, we are on Rumble.com, and I'd like you to go there if you haven't already done so, and look for Global Paradigm Shift. That's all one word, no spaces. Global Paradigm Shift. And once you follow that channel, you'll be able to get our videos there. And we are also going to eventually also continue streaming as long as they let us on YouTube, because you'll know every now and again I get put in YouTube jail. And so, yeah, we're going to continue that. But I wanted to get the Rumble channel all squared away first. And so this will be our first time, I believe, coming to you from Rumble as well. I think we're up on Rumble as well. So that's rumble.com, and look for Global Paradigm Shift, all one word, and then you can watch us there. And eventually we may just move over completely away from YouTube, because, you know, YouTube is very, very heavy on censorship nowadays. You're not free to speak truth there. They give you a warning and put you in jail and all kind of things, you know. But there are other options available to us out there. So that being said, Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
I'm doing well today. Thank you very much.
How was the weekend?
It's been good.
You had a good one?
Yes, ma'am. Very quiet, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You see all this excitement and confusion and compunction going on?
All kind of nonsense going on.
Man, what's going on out there, Professor?
Well, I see a lot of misinformation, I can tell you that.
Is that right?
That is correct.
Is that relating to what? How it affects how How it lines up with the Constitution?
Well, how it lines up with the Constitution is what is extremely important. And a lot of our people are not getting that information.
Okay.
And so because of that, we have a lot of people shooting their mouths off, saying a lot of things. And what has disturbed me a lot is the fact that people want to say they want to govern the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Uh-huh.
But what are you using to govern the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? We want to make changes to our system. I hear people talking about having discussion. We want to have mayors. We want to have island governments. And I said, well, where's that in the Constitution? You cannot change to doing all these different things. And you notice with what we call local government now, how is it that you could have the vast majority of your people not even participating in the so-called local government? Is that constitutional? Where a limited number of people, the government of the day decides we're going to just let certain people participate in local government. You're not qualified in Centerville to run your own local affairs, but the people down in Maquana can do it. And they have far less people than what we have in Centerville. But this is the way things happen in our country, and we don't pay attention to what the governor of the Bahamas is doing to us and what our legislators are doing to us. I always ask the question, is it constitutionally sound? Yes or no? But what people are doing is they're coming up with their own ideas. We got to have a mayor here. Well, where did that come from? That's not in our Constitution.
We like to watch American TV.
Well, see, that is what people do. And they think that because of what they see happen, and this is a problem I have with persons who claim to be representing the Bahamas when they go on these conferences and these meetings. What is happening in Brussels? What is happening in Spain? What is happening in Canada? I'm not interested in that. We need to have something that fits the Bahamian psyche, a system of governance that is going to be beneficial to us in the Bahamas, not copycatting what somebody else has. Okay. That doesn't make any sense. And are we prepared to decrease the number of seats in the House of Assembly? Remember now we got 39. The Constitution says you have a minimum of 38. In order to decrease the seats, you got to change the Constitution. You got to have a referendum. A lot of people don't understand these basic fundamental things. You're going to have a whole army of people say they participating in local government, right? People falling down over one another. More than one person doing the same job and you're paying out double or triple the money. It doesn't make any sense. We have to look at what we have now. Just one style government, the House of Assembly. That's what you have, where you have elected personalities. And that's even mixed up with the party or the entity, the political entity that people may be affiliated with because they're not members of those parties. Let's get that clear. The vast majority of Bahamians are not bona fide members of these political parties. They're followers.
Okay.
That's what basically they are. They have no membership in the party. Now, you may have a few people in some branches. Fine, we have that. But what number, say a constituency has, well, this one I think they have now that's up for by-election, with 6,000 voters,
right?
Potential voters in there. How many of them are members of the political party? Very few. But they're followers.
Okay.
And they have a right to do that. That's fine. But now when it comes to choosing a representative for that particular area, or any other area for that matter, that's where the problem comes in. You can be a follower of a political party. You can even be a member of a political party. That does not qualify you to participate in the parliamentary democracy.
Okay.
That's not in the Constitution. And so people get all their knuckles all mixed up and big row over nothing. And they get confused because they have been misled and deceived by the very ones who they were looking up to give them guidance and direction. That's unfortunate. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand what happened, what was said to have happened last Friday night with the PLP body. I understand that one of the candidates was looking for secret ballot on choosing the particular person who will be the candidate for that particular party. That's an internal situation.
Okay.
I didn't have a copy of the constitution of the party, but I asked someone who had the knowledge and understanding of it, and they said the constitution had changed, and there is provision in that constitution for secret balloting to choose a nominee to run in an election. That was not followed. That's what I understand was not followed.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. But now some people may have some other issues that they may be concerned about, because not everybody has the same issue. Now, following a constitution, I think the people who are running things now, they have a problem with that, because they're not following the national constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't expect, it wouldn't give me any surprise if they're not following their own internal party constitution. I'm not surprised at that. But what is more important, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, which is a legal document. These party scraps of paper, there's nothing legal about that.
Okay.
Just pieces of paper where they write foolishness on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that can't stand up in no court of law. But the Constitution can. And we are missing out because we are not knowledgeable about what the Constitution says a parliamentarian is supposed to do.
Okay.
What is his job? What responsibility does he have? I hear people talking all kinds of things. Oh, he's supposed to be a legislator. He's at the national level, but he isn't supposed to do anything for the constituency. Well, the Constitution says you are electing who? A representative for that particular constituency, which goes contrary to what the Constitution says. This particular personality who is elected or would have been elected is to represent the interests of the people of that particular constituency in the House of Assembly to the government of the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
When you check the evidence in the Constitution, you will see clearly that a representative was never designed. And I had some people talking all kind of crap. Oh, this one could get this done if he's in a particular position. The Constitution doesn't speak to that. You are being a respecter of persons if you have it. But the point is, no representative of the House of Assembly has any real power to act on his or her own apart from the government of the Bahamas.
Okay.
The Constitution is designed where the representative of a particular constituency has to work in cooperation with the government of the Bahamas. There's a vast difference between the two. Being a representative, one thing, government of the Bahamas, another thing. That's the fellows who control things.
Mm-hmm.
You are to bring to the House of Assembly the interests of your constituents, and you discuss that, and the government members are right there to listen to it. And they are supposed to look out for the interests of the people of the country. That is the government of the Bahamas. The Constitution talks about national commitments for certain things to be done. It is the duty of the government of the Bahamas to see to it that those things are mentioned.
Okay.
But the representative is to put on the table of the House of Assembly, these are the things that my constituents are concerned about. They always stand up and say, oh, I represent the good people of a particular constituency. And you wonder whether they're talking for themselves or they're talking for somebody else. You have to wonder. Because I know, for example, in certain instances, people have never met their representative who was elected in 2021.
Okay.
Had no conversation with them. How could you say you're speaking for them and you never met them? You never had a conversation with them. You don't even communicate with them. And some of them are very difficult to deal with in that particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do then with that kind of attitude, that kind of mentality? So the person is sitting there as a party personality. You already dealt with the party when the party chose a particular individual to be a nominee, as has happened on Friday, for this by-election that's coming up in West Grand Bahama. I got to get it right now. West Grand Bahama and Bimini.
West End and Bimini, yeah.
Yeah, they say, but West End is in the West too. Okay. So that's what we have today. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. I listen to people talking a lot of nonsense and foolishness. They have no knowledge of what the Constitution says. Miss Malcolm and Bahamians, that is extremely dangerous. You are misleading the public. They're not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. But they know what the Constitution says. What does the Constitution say about representative? What does the Constitution say about by-election? What does the Constitution say about the office of Prime Minister? And incidentally, there's no such thing as no deputy prime minister. I'll just mention that while it's in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have such a non-existing office where someone is being paid money to carry the title of deputy prime minister. No such thing in the Constitution. Then you have those who are called state ministers.
Right.
No such thing in the Constitution. It's an unconstitutional office.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from? So we have allowed these things to go on for decades, done nothing about it, never corrected the representative, never corrected the government of the Bahamas, because that's where the correction has to be, or even the Parliament of the Bahamas, where they have carried on this nonsense and this foolishness for decades. We've never corrected it. So when people get into the mood of always doing something that's completely unconstitutional, Bahamians, it gets even more difficult for them to do the right thing. And some of them extremely stubborn. Oh, I've been doing this all the time, so I could continue doing it.
You know, we don't like change.
No, we don't like change. We don't like to be corrected. We don't like to be corrected and follow the law.
Right.
You know how long it has been with Article 6 of the Constitution, where the Attorney General has been giving misinformation to the government of the Bahamas?
The Attorney General?
For decades. For decades.
Did you just say the Attorney General?
Yes, I said it. Because it's true. We have the evidence to prove it.
Wow.
Giving misinformation to the government of the Bahamas. He's supposed to be the chief legal advisor.
I was just going to say, what is the role of the Attorney General?
Chief legal advisor to the government of the Bahamas.
And he giving the government wrong advice.
Giving them wrong information.
According to Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Johnson.
According to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the way how the government has been behaving, the way how the office has been behaving, unconstitutional. That's a ruling by the Privy Council.
That is a very powerful statement that you're making, Professor.
But it's true. So we have the evidence to prove it. I wouldn't say it if I didn't have the evidence to prove it. And if they think any different, tell them come and bring it. But we have it right there. It's right in your face, where the governor of the Bahamas has ignored the ruling by the Privy Council for more than 40 years. And we are sitting right here and not correcting the government of the Bahamas. Those who have legal knowledge, legal understanding, I think they call themselves KCs now.
Mm.
Well, that's another, I got to look into that one. But that's what they call themselves. And that's fine if they want to call them KC, BC, DC, whatever. That's up to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say, are you constitutionally sound? Because I keep hearing people tell me, oh, this one is well schooled in the law.
Mm-hmm.
Professor Thomas is not interested in that. That means nothing to me. That means nothing to the woman in Baintown with those 6 boys, or the man in Fox Hill with those 5 daughters, or the woman in Angleton with 3 disabled children. That means nothing to her. How well his knowledge is, or what school he's been to. It's how you perform in the office and whether you are constitutionally sound to advance the cause of the Bahamian people for their betterment. That is what counts. Now, if you can't do that, I don't care what kind of training you got. That means nothing to the Bahamian people. Because we have plenty of people who are highly educated, and I'm not taking anything from them. I'm not going to do that because they were schooled and they got all this knowledge. But what good is this knowledge if you're not helping the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? That means nothing. I mean, you can have an individual just be concerned about some children who were left behind somewhere by some irresponsible parents. When we have more serious national issues relating to immigration. But you can't find time to talk about that. But you could talk about a couple of children who were left deliberately, perhaps, by some irresponsible parents. You deal with those irresponsible parents. We have major national implications relating to citizenship, relating to immigration in this country today. And those matters have not yet been dealt with. It just keeps adding up over and over and over again. Are we going to wait until what is happening in England? 100,000 out on the streets, some pulling for a mass. Those people in Israel who are creating trouble with it. Are we going to wait until it gets to that point? Because you see, if we keep ignoring what is happening in our country, my sister told me the other day, said it could happen here. We have to be careful of the people who we make citizens of our country, because the very people in the United States who were made citizens in that country are the very ones who are turning against the government of that country who gave them citizenship in the first place. Now, what kind of crap is that? Are we going to see that happen in the Bahamas?
It could very easily be so.
It could easily happen.
Yeah, for sure. Without a doubt.
We have a situation that could cause on some very serious problems and difficulties. But how many people we can afford to lose? We've lost them already with these accidents. And then the murder rate keeps climbing. We don't have that under control. I don't think we could afford the luxury of losing, if I might use that word. Let me drop the word luxury. I don't think that's too calm there. But we cannot afford to lose large numbers of people in such a limited space, because a lot of spaces are just vacant now. The people are gone. No one to fill the work that the people who were doing who are dead now. So we got to look and see what is happening in our country. We have serious social problems, very serious social problems, particularly among the less fortunate families in our country. That's been deeply etched in. I had to have one of my neighbors the other day. In fact, it was last night, I think it was. Just drunk in the street. And I couldn't leave her right there in the road. But people have some real problems. And representatives need to understand these things. These people need help. They need assistance. We've got to pay attention to the people's problems. They're not able to handle it. Their parents are not able to handle it. Their neighbors are not able to handle it because they're just as bad as them. So, we have to show love and concern and care for other people. But it is the duty of the representative to look out for the constituents in that particular constituency. It is the duty of the governor of the Bahamas to take care of the Bahamian people collectively by doing some very specific things that the Constitution says they ought to do, which has not yet been done in more than 50 years. We have the evidence right there to prove it.
All right.
They ain't touched it yet. Let me stop right there. I'll go until the man comes back.
Because we have to take a break.
Oh, yeah, we do.
So let's take this break. When we come back, we're going to continue with our Masterclass Monday with Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. We are going through the Constitution of the Bahamas. And boy, if there's ever a time that we need to understand what our Constitution says, is now, with this by-election looming. Stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company on this masterclass Monday when we are looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson back at the desk to help guide us through. Before we bring him back on screen, let's tell you how you can become a part of the conversation. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. That's 242-801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and the Global 99.5 FM pages. Also streaming live on Rumble. rumble.com. That's RUMBLE.com. Just go there and search for the channel Global Paradigm Shift. All one word, no spaces. Global Paradigm Shift, and you'll be able to watch the show live there. Now, we have to figure out the continuation of the YouTube stream. We'll do that after today's show. Okay, we'll get that sorted out so that hopefully starting tomorrow, we'll be streaming on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. Okay, so we're going to work on that after the show. But we're definitely now live on rumble.com. And I see a few of you watching there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, we're also on radio. So you can catch us on Global 99.5 on the FM dial here in New Providence. Also, we're airing in Grand Bahama, throughout the country, and around the world. And you can also download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. Last but by no means least, thank you to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio, and a huge welcome to you all. Okay, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Michelle Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to Mr. Sidney Magado, Walter Thompson.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well today. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Thompson, my question to you today is, if a person is of the LGBT community and they want to run in this year coming by-election in Escamini and Grand Bahama, does the Constitution speak out against persons of the LGBT community vying for political posts? I mean, the Constitution speaking against people like that. You know, and you say this is a Christian nation and everything that going against your whole philosophy. I don't know.
I'll answer it this way. The Constitution specifically says that one who is going to run an election will have to be a Bahamian citizen. They have to be of a particular age, I think 18 and over. And of course, they will have to register to participate as a nominee in the election. They can participate. It doesn't matter what religious views they may have.
Or sexual orientation.
The Constitution allows for various religious views. So as long as the person is a bona fide Bahamian citizen and they are a nominee for their particular entity, they can participate in a by-election or general election.
So that means it's okay. So that means, what if you have basically, say, you end up with, say, about 35 candidates who are LGBT.
It doesn't matter, caller. He's already answered your question. Sexual orientation has nothing to do with your ability to run for office.
No protection against LGBT.
Pardon me?
There's no protection for the society against LGBTQ people. You got any protection? They got protection. Yeah, they have 50 million to protect them against everything in the country.
Caller.
Have access to all the information they need.
Caller.
Yeah.
With all due respect, we're trying to be serious on this show. You've asked a question, he's answered your question, and you're still running on with foolishness. Because you continuously call this show to waste time. You asked the question, he answered the question.
I ain't calling it.
Well, that's on you.
Have a nice day.
You too. You know, we're trying to have a serious conversation here. And I keep telling that caller, if you want to be a comedian, go to one comedy club. This ain't the place to do it. Now, it was a fair question. If you really didn't know the answer to it, the man answered the question. So what you running on with? Anyhow, Professor, continue, please. These people make me mad, man.
Yeah, well, the Constitution...
Wasting time.
The Constitution has specifics in relation to persons who want to be running in a general election or a by-election. It has nothing to do with their political persuasion or their religious persuasion or any other type persuasion they may be of. The Constitution doesn't speak against that, but it allows for people from different views and different points of understanding. See, what I like about the Constitution is it allows people freedom of expression.
Right.
freedom to impart ideas and opinions without interference. And of course, we have a problem with that in this country, where people are trying to muzzle people from expressing their views. It says without interference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, it does not mean that you have a right to attack people on the airwaves or on any other place for that matter, where there's a public meeting or in the press or whatever.
Right.
But it allows for freedom of expression. Now, you have a right to express your view. The fact that you can express it is one thing. Now, whether it's constitutionally sound, that's another thing. That's a whole horse of a different color. And so I will find a difficulty with persons who are trying to take a personal view and try to deceive the Bahamian people into believing this is constitutionally sound.
Mm.
I have to fight that, because that's not accurate and precise.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a right to that particular view or views or ideas or suggestions, whatever it may be, that they may have at that particular time. They can express it with themselves or with others who agree with whatever those views may be.
Right. I mean, that's the whole point of having an electorate. If you don't agree with whatever the person stands for, don't vote for them. But don't come on this show trying to create a narrative of, they got people protecting them. No, come on, man. Stop running up with stupidity.
I think your best protection, for the benefit of the caller, the best protection you have is your Constitution. I don't think you could get it better than that. But we're not using it. See, the thing is, if we were to use our constitutional rights, freedoms, and privileges, we'll have all the protection we need. You don't need any more than that.
I mean, to come with that argument is to say that, okay, nobody who ever tell a lie could run for parliament. Nobody who is sweetheart could run for parliament. My God, the House of Assembly would be half empty.
I think it would be totally empty.
I won't put it on everybody. But you know what, man? Come on, man. Anyway, let's continue with this conversation, please, because we're trying to have a serious show here today.
No, but see, we have to have a serious conversation because there is so much misinformation out there, and I'm very much concerned about the fact that this information is being perpetuated every single day that these radio stations are operating.
So what are some of the things, Professor, that you're hearing that go against the Constitution, particularly as it relates to this by-election that's coming up?
Well, for example, people are being misled and deceived as to what a parliamentarian should be doing.
Mm.
The Constitution is very specific what a parliamentarian should be doing, what a representative ought to be doing, what the governor of the Bahamas ought to be doing. Okay, and like I said earlier, when you examine the evidence in the Constitution, the representative cannot of himself or of herself or by himself or by herself do anything for the constituents of that particular constituency. It has to be in cooperation with the government of the Bahamas.
I'm glad you brought that up because I saw a post floating around. Now, let me just say, all kind of things floating around since, this by-election and the naming of candidates. My God, we could get in the gutter. But I've seen a post floating around about a particular candidate who has been doing things for people in the constituency, like helping them to fix roof and buying this and buying the next. And is that unconstitutional? Is that illegal? What is it? What does the Constitution state, or does it not state anything, based on what you would have just said, with regard to a candidate's the lawlessness of the lawfulness of a candidate doing things for persons they're trying to get to vote for them? Is there anything that speaks to that in the Constitution?
That is a very good question. I'll answer it this way. You should not be coercing people to vote for you in the sense by saying you're going to have them do this or that because you have some money in your hand.
So what's the difference between helping somebody in need and coercing them to vote for you?
Well, that's a but there's a vast difference right up in there because you can assist a person
Mm-hmm.
at any given time, whether you're a representative or not.
Right.
So that's neither here nor there. But if you are looking at it using money, and we have to be very careful when it comes to this kind of behavior, where you are using money to buy votes, to coerce people to vote for you because you have some money in your hand. I'm going to give you X amount of dollars to vote for that particular person. That is wrong.
So that only applies to cash money. It does not apply to quote unquote gifts or.
Well, it could be gifts, yeah, as a bribe. That's actually what it is.
Does the Constitution speak to that?
The Constitution speaks to the point where Article 52.1, and I'm glad you asked that, where it says Parliament may pass laws. And if we were to do this, then we won't have to have all of this other crappy foolishness going on.
Mm-hmm.
Pass laws, 52.1 says, and it has 3 specific ingredients in the law.
Okay.
If those ingredients are not in the law, it's unconstitutional because people use laws to manipulate and to mislead and deceive people. It says specifically, Parliament may pass laws for the peace, 1, order, 2, good government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 specific ingredients should be in every single piece of legislation that is passed because it's for who? The benefit of the people of the nation as a whole, for the benefit of the people in that particular constituency, because there are some issues that specifically affect people in a given area. It may not affect people in another area.
Right.
But it has to provide for the peace, order, and good government. Now, are we having good government on the ground? Are we having peace on the ground? Are we having order on the ground in these constituencies? Where is it? Do you see it? What I do see is a lot of social confusion. So it does not matter whether a particular person is there or not. It should not be where I have to wait on a particular personality to get to that particular individual. Some of them you can't even reach them. So if you are unfortunate not to meet with that particular person who's supposed to be the representative, nothing happens for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the way you're supposed to govern. The system ought to be in place so that when you need help, when you need assistance, that's what your parliamentarian is supposed to be doing. So that when you need that assistance, it's there to help you in whatever the issue might be at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be standing in the rain or waiting out in the sun or getting up early in the morning. I got to go catch him to see him at his office. And
Right.
a lot of people are not able to do that, particularly the elderly people, the senior members. What's going to happen to them? They were not able to get out there.
But you're talking about what happens after a person has already won. I guess my question
Yes.
is more specific to the run-up to a representative being chosen.
But okay, but that's a little different if you talk about the quality of the person. Now here is where
Not so much the quality.
no, but no, let me out clearly now.
Okay.
Let me out clearly when I talk about quality.
Okay.
Once you understand Article 52.1 of your Constitution, this is the job of the parliamentarian, the person who sits in the House of Assembly.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And also in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of them are parliamentarians.
Right.
Appointed ones, elected ones. I'm saying to you, if you put people in there who do not fit the bill, or you know of circumstances, you know of situations where the particular individual who is wanting to be the representative has no interest in the people, even though the person might have said, yes, I have interest. But you check the background of that person. What have they done previously? They want to be a representative of the assembly. What have you done? Where is the track record of your credibility. See, if you have no credibility, then what are you going to have? You're going to have people who are going to do all kind of unsavory things to you and be conniving and being, can you trust the word of a representative? If a representative says, because someone told me something the other day, the person didn't show up yet, but has been telling me that the individual has been coming into the area, never saw the individual. But that's the problem you have. Is your representative trustworthy, yes or no? Is his word good? Is her word good? Can you depend on what they tell you? Or you got to keep running behind them for this, running behind them for that. That's a waste of time. So what it does is you are drained out during that, whatever length of time, it may be 5 years, 4 years, whatever length of time it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have persons in the House of Assembly that do not have any character, you know, the Constitution speaks to character, you know, self-discipline, a national commitment to self-discipline. Now take that right down to the individual. Take that right down to the people on your particular street. Take that right down to the family on a given street. Where is the self-discipline? See, if the individual has no discipline to do things on time, in a timely fashion, and being honest and upfront, what are you going to have? You're going to have trouble. And in a lot of cases, you have people who give their word on something, but they never show up. They never be there. Okay? And so if you have a representative, a person who sits in that House of Assembly, whose word means absolutely nothing to the constituents, you're asking for trouble. Now, one thing I've said is this. People are so attached to parties, and this is a real problem that has stayed with the Bahamian people for decades because we've done nothing about it. You may have a particular individual that a particular party may have put up as a nominee, as a candidate for the election. Fine. But you know that that particular individual isn't worth a hell of a bean. Why then are you going to cast your vote? Because that individual gave you a couple of dollars, maybe $50, or maybe some meat, maybe some rum, had one party in the community, and you went to the party, you enjoyed yourself. And that's the end of your participation as representing you. So what I'm saying is when we settle for these cheap trinkets, we're not looking at the long-range effect of law as it affects the people of this country. Because we got some laws in place that are not beneficial to the average Bahamian. The average Bahamian is suffering. All these laws that have been passed, but they don't even understand. I heard the other fella saying the other day how many laws they have passed. And I smiled to myself and I said, does the constituents understand those laws that have been passed? You can pass all kinds of laws. But do they have those three ingredients? Peace, order, and good government. That is what a parliamentarian ought to be doing all the time. So the people don't have to keep burdening on him or trying to look for him or trying to find him, because we would have the laws in place, the system in place to assist the people of these constituencies. But every time you got to keep running behind somebody, or I want you to do this for me, write this for me, or something like that. What kind of representation is that? You need proper laws in place to help the person who needs that house, who needs to get the property straight, the property in the particular area where the individual is. The individual doesn't know, doesn't understand. And a lot of these things that people are confronted with, they have little understanding about law or no understanding at all, period. So they're left in the dark. And the way we write laws, here's another thing what we need to change. The way how the laws are written. It is not beneficial to the average citizen of this country, because when they sit down to read it, the way how the Constitution is set up, and that's one of the most difficult laws you have in this country, it's like reading a strange language, maybe Chinese or French.
We have to take a break, Professor. On the other side of the break, though, I have another question for you. Sort of the flip side of the coin to the question I just asked. But let's take this break. And then when we come back, we will have more on this masterclass on the Constitution with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Youngevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here at the desk on this Masterclass Monday when we have been joined once again by Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, who's going to help us to better understand the Constitution of the Bahamas and its rights and responsibilities that it affords us. Good to know, especially now in the political environment in which we find ourselves here in the Bahamas. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 242-801-0271. That's 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. Also streaming today on rumble.com. Not on YouTube today. We have to play around with some stuff to get YouTube back on. But for now, rumble.com. I'm inviting you to go and join Rumble and check us out there. Look for the channel Global Paradigm Shift. Global Paradigm Shift. All one word, no spaces in between. And you can watch the show live there. One of the reasons why we decided to go with Rumble, as suggested by a regular viewer, is because YouTube keep putting me in jail for telling you all the truth. You know, censorship is alive and well over that side. And somebody recommended that we try Rumble. And they said that, you'll have a better chance of survival there. So I set up a Rumble channel. And you are invited to join us there. That's rumble.com, rumble.com, and look for Global Paradigm Shift. All one word, no spaces in between. And you can check us out there. Also coming to you by way of radio. So a huge welcome to all of you who are tuned in, whether it's 99.5 FM on the dial here in New Providence, or our growing audience in Grand Bahama, the rest of the country, and those of you who are tuned in from outside the country, a huge welcome to you all. So every Monday, for those of you who are new around here, my guest is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, and every Monday we do a masterclass on the Constitution of the Bahamas. And the funny thing is, we were supposed to be going through the Constitution line by line, article by article, but we keep getting distracted with all kind of bunch of different things. Because for the past couple of weeks before the death of the late Obie Wilchcombe, we were comparing the Nationality Act to the Constitution. And then Obie died, and as a result, his seat was vacated. So now everybody is all up in arrears about this by-election that is to take place to fill that seat that was left vacant by his death. Now, I have a question for you, Professor. We also saw one of the candidates say in the video, in essence, and I'm paraphrasing here, and by the way, tomorrow's show is going to be specifically about this whole by-election process, so I'll play a lot of clips, etc., during the show tomorrow. But in essence, he was saying, listen here, I ain't got no bunch of things to give you all, so don't come to me looking for nothing.
I heard that.
I ain't got them deep pockets, so don't come to me looking for no fridge and no stove and no other things, because I ain't got it to give you. Now, that raises a question for me as it relates to campaign finance. I know in the United States, it's a very big deal in terms of revealing the sources of financing as to who is supporting you financially to run your campaign. And we hear over there quite a bit, they talk about campaign finance reform to make that process even more transparent. Well, here in the Bahamas, we don't seem to have such a thing.
We have nothing. None whatsoever. In fact, it's a good point you brought up. I've heard those who've had the opportunity to govern the country talk about campaign finance reform, but there has been nothing coming forth from those two parties that had the opportunity to govern the country.
So there's nothing in our Constitution that speaks to that.
I am not quite 100% sure, but
Okay.
I better double check on that point.
Okay.
There may be something in there. So I would just have to go back and double check.
Right.
But it's a good question that you asked. And those who've had the opportunity to govern have been talking about it, but there has been nothing put in place to deal with the control of money, because money is a strong influence. And if it's left without any controls, it could be used in the wrong way.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that we have that in a country like the Bahamas. There are certain standards that the Constitution says we to go by,
Mm-hmm.
and it should be in place. We should know who is funding who, and how much money they're funding for that particular campaign. And so the influence of money and bribery gets in there, buying gifts. This is what happens prior to a person being elected to the House of Assembly.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have it the way how we're having it now in the Bahamas, anything is liable to happen. But we do need to have laws in place to deal with these matters.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these things would be entrenched in our Constitution. Because, see, the problem with laws in this country is, see, the fella could pass the law today, then another group comes along and they change it. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's a statute law. Statute laws could change at any time.
Okay.
Some of them have been around for a long time and
Mhm.
have been hurting the Bahamian people. They've never been changed. And so they could decide at any given time, I'm going to change this, unbeknown to the people, and just people come to realize, oh, they changed it. That should not be, because it happened with the buggery law.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bahamian people were not aware that that's now allowed between two consenting adults. But these are the things that happen. We are supposed to have a moral compass to guide us, and the Constitution speaks to that very clearly, about the rule of law, Christian values, spiritual values. Where does that place in a campaign like what we have now?
Mm-hmm.
You have a religious personality, a bishop, and understand the bishop has two churches.
Okay.
And this particular individual has the nomination for his particular party, and he will be running in the by-election.
Mm-hmm.
And he made those comments, and I thought that I don't know why he did that, but that is what he said, and I guess people are going to hold him to it. And then you might have some people who may be looking for the representative to do something personal for them.
Mm-hmm.
What I've noticed in all the things that are being said on the airwaves, and I'm glad you brought this up, because another thought came to my head. I've been listening to people saying what the representative did for them personally.
Right.
That's not parliamentary representation. That has nothing to do with parliamentary representation. Article 52.1 doesn't speak to that. It doesn't stop an individual who is a representative from doing any number of things personally for anyone. You could do that whether you're in or out of parliament. There's no law against that. But then if you're looking to a representative to do something for you personally, to say he's a good representative, then that's being extremely selfish. What I would like to see, Article 52.1 put in place, where anyone in that particular constituency, the system is in place to assist a citizen who has needs, who has problems, who is caught up in a situation. Here is what we can do for you. It's there for everybody, whether that representative, even if it changes, the law is still there. But we don't seem to operate like that in this country.
Mm-hmm.
It always be around a particular personality. When that personality is not there, then you run into trouble. So we're not passing laws for the peace or the good government. Because you see, if we were doing that all along, we wouldn't have these multitudes of problems we have in the constituencies, where little or nothing is being done except for a personal benefit. A personal benefit doesn't help the constituency one way or the other. It may help you, but that's you. What about all them people living on that street?
Quite frankly, these people don't care, Professor.
Well, maybe they don't care. And the type people you send there may not even care. So we got to look carefully at the quality of the people we're sending to the House of Assembly. How do we fix that? How do we get people together? I always use the example. You always hear me talk about BTC and St. Barnabas Church.
Right.
You go to St. Barnabas Church on a Sunday morning or whenever they have services. But you go to BTC Monday morning, 9 o'clock. Yet when you go to BTC, all these different people from all these different churches work to BTC. You don't tell all the members in Barnabas, you all need to leave your job, come work to BTC. That doesn't happen. But yet all of these people from these different communities with these different religious beliefs are working for BTC, and they're getting the job done, and it's being done consistently all the time without any confusion. Why then is there so much confusion when it comes to choosing the very same people who live in that constituency, who belong to these different churches? They have different responsibilities, and yet we seem not to be able to get on well with each other in finding the right person. And I deliberately say that, the right person to send to the House of Assembly to represent that particular constituency. That's a big problem.
Okay, I have a question for you, because we all saw the videos that came out over the weekend with all of the uproar in the PLP camp. That's based on the person that was selected or the other person that was not selected.
Yes,
those who supported Mr. Gibson were very vocal.
Yes, they were.
And expressing their displeasure. But the party system, hierarchy, whatever you want to call it, decided to go in another direction. Based on the Constitution, that is the way that our political process has operated for many, many years now. I know myself, that's what happens. The party decides who it will send to you, as opposed to you having any real say in who is sent. So unless you are a member of the inner circle who helps to make that decision, you could lobby as much as you want to lobby and make as much noise as you want to make. You can get who they send you, and then you have a choice. Either you vote for them or you don't. Yes. If that system were to be changed, what would that take from a constitutional standpoint? And does the Constitution even get involved with that, or is that strictly under the purview of political parties and has nothing to do with the Constitution?
That's an excellent question. I'm glad you put it that way. You have two things there. Party constitution.
Right.
And you have the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas.
Exactly.
The Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas allows for political parties to exist.
Right.
The Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas does not interfere with political parties.
And how they operate. Okay.
Okay, so that has to be dealt with by the persons who are part of that particular political party. But you have what is called the inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain persons who make decisions. For example, in the PLP, they have the council,
right,
which is the supreme authority, this is on paper now,
mm-hmm.
which is the supreme authority when there's no convention.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you will find that usually the hierarchy members of the party, like the leader, the deputy leader, and other top personnel, the chairman, and other top personnel in the party, they may want to move in a certain direction, and they will make their recommendation to the council.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, you're going to find that the council would normally support what they would like to see happen. Very rare you will see that change, the way how the system is set up. Now, I understand that there's supposed to be secret balloting, which is a new thing for political parties, particularly the PLP, because they always had it in the open.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's what happened on Friday. It would be either you put your hand up or you stand up or you sit, and it's all out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that there has been a change to the Constitution where they're now supposed to put in secret balloting, where you go and you vote and you put the ballot in the box.
Okay.
and no one will know how you voted. So when they just take the ballots out, they count and say, okay, this one has X number of votes, and that is the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't happen. Now, there may be some other things that people might be upset about. Now, whether they're upset about that particular incident, I understand the candidate that was not selected has a difficulty with it. And if the Constitution says that, then you should follow the Constitution. But knowing the people who govern this country, they're not constitutionally sound. I am not surprised if they didn't follow their party constitution. That doesn't surprise me. They're not even following the supreme law of the land. They have difficulty with that. We got all these immigration problems. You got people being naturalized. You cannot naturalize any citizen at this time because it is not constitutionally sound. That ended July of 1974, and that was specifically for persons of the United Kingdom and colonies. And they had to do it by a specific time. You will find in the Constitution, which is the supreme law, there is time limit to certain things. Once the time is passed, it's over. Like, for example, those of us who became citizens July the 10th, 1973. You can't come 50 years later, 40 years later, say you want to now be a citizen. Doesn't work that way. July the 10th, 1973. You had that opportunity to either accept or reject. That's already passed. Now, in order to change that, you have to have a referendum. People got to understand these things. There are certain things in the Constitution that has already passed. It's in the Constitution, but the deadline is already passed. That's history now.
Mm-hmm.
This naturalization of all these other personalities say they want to naturalize them, that's unconstitutional. It cannot apply to people who are outside of the specific jurisdiction, UK and colonies. That's why you see the Constitution speaks specifically, United Kingdom and colonies. We had a special relationship with the UK. You had plenty of people from those at that place working in the Bahamas, and plenty of them decided to go back home. They didn't stay here. A few of them did. And they could have gotten citizenship if they so desired, and they were given a specified period of time. Mm-hmm. And they could choose to say, well, I don't want to be a citizen. The Constitution allows for that too.
Right.
So now here you have people of all these other countries say they're naturalizing the papers full of it. There is no such thing as naturalization in 2023. It's unconstitutional. That ended July 1974. I challenge them to tell me it ain't so. I'll go right to the Constitution and show it to them. It's been there all these years. And we got people around there doing foolishness and nonsense, and no one has ever said to the government of the Bahamas, that is wrong. Stop it. Stop this foolishness. Stop this nonsense. See, that's how we behave. That's why the country is so messed up today. Because we are not doing what the Constitution says we ought to do. You got the Attorney General say, oh, we could always come up with some other statute law. You cannot use statute law to supersede constitutional law. He ought to know better than that. But that's what the man say. We ain't gonna have no referendum. They ain't gonna fool around with no referendum. When you have a government in place that doesn't want to have the referendum as is required by Constitution, watch out. That's a very dangerous government. Extremely dangerous. Because you are ignoring the law of the land, the supreme law of the land. And don't take that lightly. That's very dangerous. It could lead to some other serious things.
But I suspect, Professor, that anyone who decides to take that position does so because they realize that the masses do not know or understand what the Constitution says or cares.
Well, that is a problem. That is a major problem in the country now. And I am not going to disagree with the comment you just made.
Mm-hmm.
But Bahamians, if we don't care, we're going to get far worse. You ain't see the worst of it yet. We're going downhill as a nation. You want to wait until we hit rock bottom like what's happening in Israel? Is that what you want? You want to wait for that to happen? You want to wait for violence to break out in this country all over. The police ain't going to be able to control nobody because ain't nobody checking for them. They will have their own ammunition. And whatever happens, happens. We're going to wait until we buck our heads that we can't rise up out of the crap that we're in. Look what's happening in Haiti. You're going to wait until it gets to that kind of violence in our country. You see the killings happening all the time in this country. We're not paying attention to that. Just about every other day you have someone murdered, someone standing in front of their yard. I mean, to tell me, wait now, come on. You can't even stand in front of your house. Somebody passed by in one champagne car or some Japanese car, and they just start riddling people to the ground, or that particular person they're looking for. But here is what can happen with that. You can have innocent people dying, like the woman who went to church. And these people were in the street just firing guns at each other, struck the woman. And she died right there in the churchyard. She's going to church. She just came out to get the mass for her from her car. But innocent people could die with this kind of violence in our country. We don't want this to keep on going like this. It's hurting the country. So we need to know our Constitution, Bahamians. If you don't know it, you got to start to learn and understand it. Because if we do not follow our Constitution, we're going to suffer even more now than what we're suffering now. It could get far worse. We have countries in Africa that are experimenting with democracy. And I noticed the government of the Bahamas is making ties with these people who are in the back of the woods. They don't have a system of parliamentary democracy like we have in this country. And we could end up losing it just by one stupid situation occurring in this country could wipe out 1729 right on up to now. And then people would use it against you. But we have had the blessing of God to have peaceful transition from one administration to the next. We're not going to protect that. We're not going to guard that with our lives so that our children coming after us can have a strong country. We're going to let that get out of hand like how it is in Haiti. You wanted to get to that point. See, since the president died, look how long it has been. They had no election yet. You want to keep us in that kind of situation. It won't take much to get rid of the Bahamian people. Our population is small. So we wouldn't want that. I will do all I possibly can to prevent that from happening. But one person can't do it.
Right.
I tell people that all the time. You have to help save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
If you care about it.
If you care about it, yes. And the only document we can work with is the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. It can't be a party document from a particular political party because everybody don't belong to that party. Some people ain't part of no party. So how they going to fit in?
Right.
The Constitution covers everybody in the country. That's the people's document. That belongs to the Bahamian people. Not something that somebody wrote in one room somewhere and they decide, oh, we'll work with that. That's why I tell people all the time, the Constitution is always right. It is never, ever wrong.
Okay, we have to take a break, Professor. Wow. Time has gone by quickly, only half an hour left on the show.
Wow.
Okay, we're going to take this break, and we want to invite you to call in with your questions, comments, etc., as we continue to look at the Constitution of the Bahamas and how this whole by-election process is being impacted thereby, and what you as an elective need to consider when you are trying to determine who you're going to cast your vote for, particularly with the with their promises on the left and the Constitution on the right. How you should use the Constitution as
in order to make a sound decision.
Right.
Good judgment.
A marker. Okay, stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. This is GPS.
At Lee Air, safety is our number one priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the Mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here on this Masterclass Monday as we look deeper into the Constitution. The telephone numbers to call are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272. And the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 242-801-0277. That's 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. You can also check us out now on rumble.com. Today is our first time streaming there. That's RUMBLE, rumble.com. And when you go there, you're going to look for Global Paradigm Shift. All one word, no spaces. Global Paradigm Shift channel. And you can watch us there. And I want to thank the regular viewer, caller, who recommended that we go to Rumble because we were having some issues with YouTube, always constantly being censored over there. And they suggested that we give Rumble a call. So we're still feeling our way through. Bear with us, but we are now live on rumble.com. You can also download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. And a huge welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio, whether it's here in New Providence, 99.5 on the FM dial, or Grand Bahama. I understand we have a pretty large audience over there. Welcome to you guys. Everybody who's tuned in from outside those two islands, the rest of the family islands, and thank you for those of you who are tuned in from outside the country. Huge welcome to you all, and thank you for being a part of the show. Okay, so let's get him back on screen. Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson is here once again at the desk. We're talking about the Constitution of the Bahamas. And now that there's this by-election in the air, what we're talking about is the Constitution as it relates to how by-elections are governed. And so my question prior to the break, Professor, was when somebody comes knocking on your door, those of you in West End and Bimini, because we're going to get a lot of that now for the next couple of weeks, and they say, I want you to vote for me. How do you use what is contained in the Constitution as a roadmap, as a GPS system?
That's an excellent
No pun intended, to help you to decide who is best out of all those candidates that are coming before you, particularly if you are not affiliated with any of the political parties?
That's a very good question. And this is where I believe there has to be communication on the ground. I always refer to Article 24.1 of the Constitution, which speaks specifically to people protecting their own interests.
Mm-hmm.
If we are not communicating well with each other, that could pose a problem. There will be disagreements, but I always ask the question, what is common to all of you on a given street? What is common to all of you in a given neighborhood? What is common to all of you in that particular constituency? Do the constituents have a cause of action, a plan of action, what they would like to see happen in their own constituency? Or are they waiting for a particular political party to devise a cause of action for them? Or the representative will have to do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
What we do not have, and I have watched this for some time, we don't have any movement on the ground, as I understand it, among the constituents themselves, deciding what they would like to see happen in their community and communicate that to their representative. It has to be an organized movement of people. That is what Article 24.1 speaks to.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's to protect your interests, not only for you right now, but for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and other members of the family who they may not necessarily live there.
Mm-hmm.
But then if the principle is carried over, it would also spill over into other constituencies. We have too much party interference, or persons are saying, I am involved with a particular party at any one given time.
Okay.
That's why I use the analogy of of St. Barnabas Church, BDC.
Right.
You have all of these people from all of these different churches, all of these different groupings, but they work very well at BDC to get BDC job done. Well, then why can't we take the same principle, use it in our constituency to find the right person among the prescribed individuals who are on the list, because they're the ones you have to vote for. One of them has to be chosen. Or if none of them fit, nothing's stopping you from choosing your own person to put on that list. But it has to be the collective will of the constituents. Some of them are so blinded they believe that because they've been in this psyche with a particular political party, they can't see themselves moving away from that particular party, taking the necessary action to protect their interests, as Article 24.1 tells you to do. They are still going to hold on to a party that may not care anything about them, and they've seen the evidence. You've had persons coming in over and over and over and over again, but you're not seeing any appreciable change on the ground in the particular constituency where you live. You see things continue on as unabated. There's been no real change. There's been no real representation on the ground for the benefit of those people. Where do you see the lives of constituents improving? Or do you see more deterioration? It takes people communicating with each other, talking to each other, understanding one another, and being able to come up with a consensus as to where they would like to go as constituents in a particular constituency, because you are living there. You have to live with these people in this constituency, and chances are you'll be there for some time. So why is it that you cannot or are unwilling to get on well with the people you live with? It seems to be an unwilling spirit, as I see it now, which is detrimental to the advancement of the country. Now, let's look at the Constitution. The Constitution says a national commitment to some very specific things. That's where the national government is responsible for that. Let's take it down to the constituency level. A constituency commitment to self-discipline. A constituency commitment to the rule of law. A constituency commitment to spiritual values, scriptural values. Okay? And so the Constitution speaks specifically for it at the national level, but let's bring it down to the constituency level. Because remember now, the laws that are passed are to have those ingredients in them, Article 52.1, for the peace, order, and good government for that particular constituency. Do we have it? When we look at and see how these constituencies are operating and how representation, if there's any kind of representation, or how the particular representative is acting on their behalf when they go to the House of Assembly, have you seen any appreciable change? This is where it takes people who live there becoming involved to improve conditions in that particular constituency and give that to the representative at any given time to say, listen, these are some things we see in here that we need to change. But there has to be that cooperative spirit between the constituents and the particular personality who sits in the House of Assembly. Because not every one of us can go in there and speak. You have to speak through that particular person.
Right.
But there are times when you can't get to that particular person. And so that's another problem. And it's for constituents to look at it and say, how do we get together to make an impact so that life can be improved in the constituency? But if you're going to stay in your corner and say, I'm going to vote for this particular nominee by a particular party because you don't see any other way out, I don't know why we are blinding our eyes to that when there's so many options that are open to us. You do not have to vote for that particular personality from that particular party, even if you are a member of that particular party, even if you're a follower of that particular party, because there are two different things in there. Party representation, which is an internal issue, like they did PLP on Friday night, and then parliamentary representation, which has to do with all of the constituents in that particular constituency choosing the right person to send to the House of Assembly. And for that to happen, you have to have discussion among the people.
All right, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Good afternoon.
I'm doing well.
Good.
I hear your guest, as he does every Monday, give a lot of glamorous as relates to the Constitution. But if he can name me one of those, one time where us as constituents, even when we have came together on things or first concerns where we didn't want something or wanted something, where the Constitution or politicians paid any attention to it or didn't do otherwise.
Caller, let me answer you this way.
Because, I mean, all the things he's saying is very glamorous and all that stuff. But we talk about facts and stuff now.
Is it constitutionally sound, what I am saying? Yes or no? That's what you need to think
You're
about.
saying that we as a constituency can come together and say, we want this or we don't want that. I'm asking you, when has that been proven in our government system that we got something that we wanted or objected, or the government objected to something that we asked them that we didn't like?
Caller.
For the most part.
Caller, the thing is this, right?
I need you to talk into the microphone, Professor.
Yeah, okay. Caller, the thing is this. The people in the constituency need to understand what the Constitution says. All right? Now, if we don't understand what the Constitution says a representative ought to be doing and what the government of the Bahamas ought to be doing, and putting the right kind of pressure on the government of the Bahamas. Right now, they're violating the Constitution. What are we doing about it? Are we just sitting back? Listen to me now. You asked me a question, I'm going to answer it. We're just sitting back and allowing it to happen where there's hardcore evidence that is available that we have right at our fingertips. And what are we doing about it? Are we taking Article 24(1), using it to our advantage as constituents in this Commonwealth of the Bahamas? Are we doing that? Are we organizing ourselves on the ground? Or are we just complaining on the radio stations and think that's good enough? That's not good enough.
I just want to add this, call, and then I'll let you continue with your point. I think the whole point that the professor is trying to make is that the country is in the condition it's in because it hasn't happened, even though we have constitutionally the rights to do it differently. Because we have not done it the way the Constitution outlines is why we find ourselves in this predicament that we do now in the country. I think that's the whole point that he's been trying to make.
No, I seriously differ with that as well.
Okay.
And again, so obviously then, okay, if that is the case, right, then obviously some of the things that we objected to or don't like and all that stuff, if that was so that the government did not have the right to do the things that they are doing, I sure many persons who are community activists, etc., and all of this, would already petition the courts, etc., to cause things that have gone different if the government did not have the right to do the things that they are doing.
Okay, let me use one example, and Professor can correct me if I'm wrong as it relates to the Constitution and what took place. Let's look at the referendum that was held with regard to gaming in the Bahamas. The government of the day decided that they wanted to. Well, let me be careful how I phrase this. They decided to put to the people the question as to whether or not they wanted to allow gaming in the country. They did so by referendum.
Yes.
The people vote no.
And what
The
happened
people
after
said very clearly, this is not what we want.
And what was the result?
The
So that's what I'm saying
government
to the professor.
turned around and
Right now.
implemented anyway.
Exactly. So tell me something where we as the people took a stand, etc., on something, and we were able to change the government position because the government was wrong. While the government may not do as we want and all that stuff, that does not mean that they do not have the same constitutional rights that he is saying that we as the people have to do the things that we want or do not want.
I'll let Professor answer you on that one.
So the question is, are you prepared to act constitutionally? Because see, what has been happening, I said about these activists, you know how many times we've had demonstrations being called, 20 people show up, 10 people show up. You may get 50 sometime to show up.
So 50,000 is
No, but no, listen. No, listen to me. You ask a question, sir. Let me answer the question, please. Okay? We have seen the evidence in the behavior of our people. Are we prepared to stand up and fight like our forefathers and our foremothers did? Do you see that happening in
The reason people ain't
2023?
standing up because they know it's not going to change anything.
Well, that's being stupid.
It's a waste of time going out there protesting because we know at the end of the day it's
The
not going to
point
change
is,
anything.
you do not have the strength in numbers. That's why the government of Bahamas continues to ignore it.
No, because the government, like you're saying, even though we as people have constitutional rights too, the government have constitutional rights as well.
I'm not interested in that, sir. I'm simply saying...
Okay, see, that's the problem right there. You only saying what we as the constituents have obligated.
No, what the
but you're not telling us that also the government also has constitutional rights.
I believe that, sir, Caller, with all due respect, I believe that the Constitution doesn't, I believe that the Constitution speaks to rights of all Bahamians, government and non-government. It doesn't, so, exactly.
No, but what I'm saying is though, right? I'm saying if he is saying that we have the constitutional right to do this or do that, I'm asking him to then to prove to me where the government went ahead and do it when they did not have the constitutional right to do otherwise.
No, the government is doing it right now. Right now, the government is violating the Constitution of the Commonwealth. Do you understand that?
No, I'm asking what is that for they violating it? Violating.
I'm going to let you find that out for yourself.
Oh, please.
You asked. You don't seem to understand. Do you know what's
No,
going on?
I'm asking you a violation.
Do you know
that
what
the
is going
government
on
doing.
in this country?
I'm asking for an example of a violation that the
Article
government
6.
is doing.
Do you know what Article 6 of the Constitution says?
I'm
Do you
asking you
understand that?
to give me an example of a violation that the government is doing against the Constitution.
He just said Article 6.
I told him that. And he doesn't even understand that. He don't even know that was going on.
What the government is doing, as opposed to, it just came here the other day that I also heard you mention of this too, that the government and all that stuff was doing this thing for 50 years. The Privy Council just made a ruling that reversed some of the decision that the government was doing, but there was nothing to say that the government for 50 years was doing it wrong. The Privy Council just made a ruling.
No, sir, you're absolutely
wrong.
You're wrong about that. No,
wrong.
sir, you're wrong
He's
about
dead
that.
wrong.
Because
He's
what the
dead
Privy
wrong.
Council said when they went to them and they took with them the Nationality Act, the Privy Council said, what you bring this to us for, and you have a constitution. Follow your constitution. So they didn't change anything in the constitution. They just instructed our government to follow the constitution that has been in effect since
the beginning.
Exactly. So it's not like they changed anything. They simply said, you have a law. Follow it.
So, okay. So if while the Privy Council did not change anything, they made a ruling for the government now to go and do something. So if they did not make a ruling for the government to say, go and follow this or follow that, then they will still continue to be doing what they were doing prior to.
They're still doing it.
Exactly. And again, that means...
But that does not mean that what they are doing is constitutionally sound. Exactly. And I think that's the point that the professor's been trying to make. And the reason why they're getting away with it is because we, the people,
have not taken action.
Have not decided to do anything about it.
What the professor does, again, every Monday for the most part, it speaks a lot about hypotheticals. A lot.
You don't understand the Constitution.
Because again, he always saying if we as a people come together and protest and all that stuff. Haven't we seen people came together and protest and we see nothing happen? So now he's saying now the number is more is what really matters. So we then had the thousands and thousands of persons. So now he's saying we need to double that in order for the government to hear our voice.
Listen, if you see how changes have been made in other countries around the world, it's an example for Bahamians to look at and make a determination as to how we want to see changes done in our own country.
But while you speak of those other countries, don't speak about the lawlessness and all that stuff those other countries does. Are you saying you want us to go that route?
You see what he's talking now? You brought that up, not me.
No, so that's what I'm asking.
No. I never said it. I never said anything about that.
No, you said those other countries, what they do and all that stuff, the extent that they go to. I'm asking you want us to go to that extent as well.
It's an example for the Bahamian people. See, you don't even listen.
Talking to the microphone, Professor.
What I'm saying is
I run over with the facts of the land. The issues of what's happening from day to day. It's all good to speak hypothetical and all that stuff, but putting it into action and all that stuff and saying what the government is actually doing wrong versus our constitutional rights and all that stuff is two different things. And pointing them out.
I quite frankly don't understand the point you're trying to make, Colin.
Either.
Because
you don't even know what's going on.
Because either you follow the law or you break it.
Don't.
It's no gray area. It's no. Hold on, Professor. Hold on, caller. Hold on, caller. I let you have your say. When it comes to the Constitution of the Bahamas, there is no gray area.
No.
It is very black and white.
I agree.
So either you following the law or you aren't. And if you aren't, it means that you're violating the law.
So that's why I asked him the question where it is that the government is broken laws or violating the law. And the same thing he brought up with the referendum or the opinion poll. The government had the referendum, then they changed it to opinion poll and all that stuff. So where it is that they violated the Constitution, even though they went against the will of the people, but what violation did they vote?
Okay, but he gave you a very specific example of Article 6.
He got Article 6.
I am the one who brought up the thing about the
give me something else other than Article 6 where it talks about citizenship and all that. Give me a different one.
Do you need one more important than that one? Do you need one more important than that one?
No, I'm saying us who are Bahamians who may not have an issue with immigration issue and all that stuff.
He's talking foolish.
Tell me another something that the government has broken.
Caller, boy, I really wish you had called earlier because we only got 2 minutes left in the show.
Yeah, we can end that.
And the statement you just made is very, very serious. You know why? Because you said, tell me about another issue what some of us don't have a concern with. The Constitution don't give a flying you know what about what you concerned with or what you have to think or say.
And that's the point I'm making.
The Constitution is clear as day. It is not. There is no gray in between. So your opinion matters not when it comes to what is contained in the Constitution.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's what you seem to be missing, though.
So I asked him the fact.
Because you saying
those issues that where the Constitution
you are saying, caller. Well, what if we don't? If some of us don't care about that particular issue? Give me another point. But this has nothing to do with what you care about.
Okay, that's one issue that I may not have any issue with immigration or non-immigration or all that stuff. So I'm asking you for another example of something that the government is breaking constitutionally in our country.
You don't need any more examples.
Caller.
You don't need more.
Caller.
So that's that one is what you're saying.
Caller.
You're wasting time.
Honest to God. Caller. We only got a minute left and I got to close out this show. The point is this. You will find 1,000 things in the Constitution what not everybody will necessarily care about, as you put it. Okay? For you, you may not care about the immigration issue. Another person may not care about another article in the Constitution. A third person may not care about another article. That does not matter because the Constitution is not based on your opinion.
No, but the point of
the Constitution is very black and white. There is no gray in it.
Tell me another one that we know.
The point is, we don't have to tell you another one because somebody out there will always disagree.
Because other than the number 6,
but it ain't have nothing to do with your opinion.
And we only have a problem with number 6 because we are afraid of the illegal immigration and all that. So
it's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. I gotta get off the air. Honestly, but you are very misinformed. Very misinformed. We gotta go. But for you to come on this radio and say, well, give me another example because I don't care about immigration. Who cares what you care about? The Constitution is not based on what you care about.
You see why?
And that is the problem we have in this country.
That's a big problem right there. Because we don't take these matters seriously.
So, because I don't care about that issue, okay, we can ignore that. They can break that law much as they won't break that. I don't care.
It's utter nonsense.
This is the problem we have in this country. Y'all take that document for a joke.
Yeah, you only highlight the foolishness.
Based on how you feel. And what y'all don't seem to realize, this ain't got nothing to do with how you feel. Or what you care about or don't care about.
All they're doing is taking the country.
And that is exactly why we're doing what we're doing here every Monday, to educate people.
Yeah.
Because you got people up there like you with that attitude. But I don't care about that. So they can vote to break the law. It's 4:01. We got to go. Boy, I tell you. Professor, the more we do, the more we got to do on this show.
Yeah, we have to, yes. We have to.
This is scary.
Very scary.
That you're going to allow your politics. That's all that conversation boils down to.
That's all it boils.
You're going to allow your political persuasion to say, well, we don't care what the Constitution say.
It's politically polarized.
Clearly. Gotta go. 4:01. Professor, thank you as always
Thank you very much.
for being here today. Tomorrow, don't miss tomorrow's show, because boy, we going deep in this whole political situation with this by-election. We ain't talking surface tomorrow now. We going deep. So snorkeling gear is not going to work. We need y'all to pull out the deep diving gear for tomorrow's show. Don't miss it. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Take care.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.